Secretary
Alquist, Anderson, Berryhill, Blakesley, Calderon, Canella, Corbett, Correa, De Leon, DeSaulnier, Dutton, Emerson, Evans, Fuller, Gaines, Hancock, Harmon, Hernandez, Huff, Kehoe, Lamafa, Leno, Liu, Lowenthal, Negrete McLeod, Padilla, Pavley, Price, Rubio, Smidian, Steinberg, Strickland, Vargas, Walters, Wolk, Wright, Weiland, Yee. Mr. President, we are lacking a quorum.
The absence of a quorum having been duly noted, would the Sergeant-at-Arms please lock the doors and call the absent members? Sergeant-at-Arms, please call the absent members. Members, a quorum is present. Could we ask that the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We will be led in prayer this morning by our chaplain, Rabbi Mona Alfi, after which please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Assembly Member Negrete McLeod. Rabbi? Senator. Congratulations, Senator Negrete McLeod. Rabbi?
It's early. Good morning.
Good morning.
In the Bible, we are taught that the Holy One, the creator of us all, created the universe with words. Words have the power to create and the power to destroy. Words can bring us together or tear us apart. With words, our founding fathers created our nation, and with the simple and beautiful words given to us by Minister Francis Bellamy, we recommit ourselves to the sacred ideals of our nation each time we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And for those who work in and for this venerable chamber, it is with words that we can create a better tomorrow. O gracious God, we turn our hearts to you and ask for blessings on our country and all who live here. We pray that you may give us the courage to live up to our highest ideals, working for our common good. May the words we speak to one another bring us closer together and enable us to create a nation that is united in its pursuit of liberty and justice for all people. May this be God's will. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a good day. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Senator. Senator Gray McLeod, for what purpose do you rise?
I just wanted, Mr. President, that you can call me anything you want.
Thank you very much, Senator. Members, we are at privileges of the floor. Senator Pavley, for what purpose do you rise?
Yes, for purpose of introduction.
Please proceed.
Yes, Mr. President and members, if I could have your attention a minute, I wanted to...
Senator Pavley, one moment, please.
Yeah.
Members, if we could give Senator Pavley the attention of the Senate, please.
I learned years ago not to talk over my students. I just waited for quiet. It maybe still works. I don't know. I would like to take a moment and introduce the fellows from the California Council on Science Technology that are with us in the State Senate this year. The California Science and Technology Policy Fellowships place professional scientists and engineers in the California State Legislature for one-year appointments. These professional development opportunities enable fellows to work hands-on with policymakers to develop solutions to complex scientific and technical issues facing California. The fellowships are for qualified applicants who are interested in improving the interface between science and legislative decision-making and who want to learn the public policy process. 4 of them are with us today, and these are the Senate fellows. There's also a few over in the Assembly. The 4 Senate fellows for the Council of Science and Technology are Nusha Ajami, PhD in Civil and Environmental Engineering from UC Irvine. Those of you who are anteaters, she's from Irvine. Her specialty is flood and water supply forecasting and sustainable water resource management, and therefore her placement was with the Senate Committee on Natural Resources and Water. A second Senate fellow, Peter Cowan, he has a doctorate in integrative biology from UC Berkeley. His specialty is wildfires and climate change. His placement, the Senate Committee on Environment Quality. The third Senate fellow, Malika Singleton Duran, has a doctorate in neuroscience from UC Davis. Her specialty is autism spectrum disorder. Her placement is with the Senate Office of Research. Our fourth and final Senate fellow, Michelle Leinfelder, has a doctorate in horticulture from Cornell University. Specialty, soil health and carbon sequestration in orchard systems. Placement, Senate Committee on Transportation and Housing. Please join me in welcoming our new Senate fellows for this year.
Thank you, Senator Pavley, and welcome to our Senate fellows, Science Fellows this year. Senator Keogh, for what purpose do you rise, Senator?
For the purposes of introduction, Mr. President, and actually I have 2, if you'll indulge me.
Please proceed.
I would like to start with a constituent of mine, Dr. Naomi Oreskes from the University of California at San Diego.
And where is your guest? If we could ask your guest to stand so we can recognize.
Where are the sergeants? And right. Dr. Oreskes is joining us today for a reception following immediately upon adjournment of session. She's here to speak about her latest book, Merchants of Doubt, which reveals how a handful of scientists were able to confuse the public about well-established scientific knowledge on the issues of ranging from tobacco smoke to global climate change. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Oreskes, and please join us, members, in room 211 after session for a reception and a brief talk with Dr. Oreskes.
Thank you, Senator. Doctor, we welcome you to the Senate chambers. Thank you for being with us. And Senator Keogh, you had one other introduction?
I do have 2. Thank you.
One moment, Senator. Members.
Senator Leno and I would like to take a moment to recognize and thank a very special Californian, Muriel Johnson, the outgoing director of the California Arts Council, for her long and distinguished career of public service. Muriel Johnson is retiring on Monday there. And last night, we both had the pleasure of attending the California Arts Council reception at the newly expanded Crocker Museum here in Sacramento. And as a former president of the museum and in her role as the Arts Council advocate, Muriel was instrumental in the tremendous effort to build that beautiful expanded facility. And for those of us who have been around Sacramento a long time, you may remember Muriel for her many years on the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors. If you served on your County Board of Supervisors, you may remember her from her years at CSAC, in at least part of the time as president. But it's her role as director of the California Arts Council that I know her best, her tireless advocacy for the arts, her unending travel all over our state, urban and rural, where she's probably had the greatest impact on the lives of many Californians. She came in, you remember, when public financing for the arts had been severely cut back, but Muriel's incredible energy and her ability to work with everyone was able to sustain an aggressive effort to promote the arts through other means, such as private donations. So I know Senator Leno and I share this moment in thanking Muriel for all her hard work, and I'd like to ask Senator Leno to join me.
Senator Leno. One moment, Senator Leno. Could we get Senator Leno's microphone at Senator Leno's desk? There we go.
Senator Kehoe has recounted Muriel Johnson's amazing career in public service rather well. Just to add a few things, that she served on so many different boards, committees, and commissions. She also led a study group here in Sacramento to look at the viability of symphonic music in the Sacramento region, which resulted in the creation of the Sacramento Philharmonic Orchestra. She took on the directorship of the California Arts Council right at the time that the dot-com boom had gone bust. We were putting about $37 million into the California Arts Council at that time. She took it on as its budget was slashed by about 90%. 94%, I do stand corrected. Knowing full well that every study that we have unequivocally states that children who study art and music have higher rates of self-esteem, they have higher rates of graduation from high school, lower rates of dropping out, test better in math and science and reading, and here we, the entertainment capital of the world, rank 50 out of 50 states. She'd correct me again, 51 out of 50 states. We rank below Guam in per capita state funding for the arts. But because of her leadership, there's a very strong board now of those leading the California Arts Council, and we are so indebted to her. I asked what she's going to be doing now. She's been so busy, from county supervisor to civic leader, for so many decades, and she said, you know, it's time to see the world and my grandchildren. And so we wish you very well, and we are forever indebted. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Senator Steinberg, for what purpose?
Just to add some brief words to the resolution, and I have to do this because I was elected in 1992 to the City Council the same year Muriel Johnson was elected to the County Board of Supervisors. And I've been able to not only observe but work with her for many, many years. And you should know that we're honoring Muriel here for her contributions to the arts in California, but she is also has been and continues to be a Sacramento treasure, someone who is widely admired and loved by people from all political walks of life, because she reaches out to everybody. And on the Board of Supervisors was often that key deciding vote because she was the reasonable one. And it's just wonderful that you are, quote, retiring, although I don't believe it. and that you continue just to be such a great part of our Sacramento community. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you again. Members, under messages from the governor, messages will be deemed read. Messages from the assembly will be deemed read. Reports of committee will be deemed read. And that takes us to motions, resolutions, and notices. Senator Steinberg, for what purpose do you rise, sir?
For purposes of resolution, I'd like to take up SR 7 without reference to committee or file, please.
Without reference to file, SR 7. Without objection? Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 7 by Senator Harman, enacting to the standing rules of the Senate for the 2011-12 regular session.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senator Harman, I'm standing in for Senator Harman today, who is going to present the resolution. This contains the standing rules of the Senate. It includes minor technical changes. We've, of course, consulted with and worked with Senator Dutton and the Republican caucus here. Urge an aye vote on adopting the Senate rules. Thank you.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Alquist? Aye. Anderson? Aye. Berryhill? Aye. Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Canella? Aye. Corbett? Correa? Aye. De Leon? DeSaulnier? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Emerson? Aye. Evans? Aye. Fuller? Aye. Gaines? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harman? Hernandez? Aye. Huff? Kehoe? Aye. LaMalfa? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Rubio? Aye. Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Vargas? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wolk? Wright? Aye. Wyland? Yee? Strickland, aye.
Call the absent members.
Corbett? De Leon? Harman? Huff? Padilla? Wolk? Aye. Wyland? Yee? Strickland, we have as aye.
Ayes 31, noes 0. The resolution is approved and adopted. Members still under motions, resolutions. Senator Wolk, for what purpose do you rise?
Purposes of adjourn in memory.
One moment, please. Members, could we have your attention, please? Senator Wolk, please proceed.
I'd like to ask my colleagues to adjourn in memory of George Moore of Davis, who died on Wednesday morning at the age of 83. He was born in Atlanta, and he contracted polio at the age of 3. He was taken to the Roosevelt Foundation in Warm Springs, Georgia, where he spent the next 10 years and learned to walk with braces and crutches, and did until 20 years ago when he ended up in a wheelchair. He was the first teacher in the San Francisco public schools to use crutches. He was told he couldn't teach if he couldn't walk unaided. But Joe Alioto, who later became mayor, was on the school board and overruled the administration. He taught in several inner-city schools and went to Lowell High School, where he taught English and film for 19 years. That was his first life. He became active in the California Association of the Physically Handicapped, now the Californians for Disability Rights. 25 years ago, George and his wife Diane moved to Davis, where he continued to be active on the State Council of the Californians for Disability Rights and on ADA and accessible housing committees in Yolo County and in Davis. And he was often here advocating for change. He was on the Safety Advisory Commission for several years in Davis, and he served as its chair. He's survived by his wife Diane and 5 children and 3 grandchildren, and a large extended family and many, many friends and strong friends. He will be missed, and I would ask that we would adjourn in his memory.
Thank you, Senator Wolk, and please share the sympathies of the Senate with friends and family. Senator Dutton.
Yeah, Mr. President, I have a motion to adjourn in memory.
Please proceed.
Honorable members, it's with great sorrow that I ask to adjourn in memory of Pauline Murillo, tribal elder of the San Manuel Band of Serrano Mission Indians. Miss Murillo's influence was honored last year when the U.S. Census Bureau chose her as the first Southern California to be counted in the 2010 census. One of Pauline's passions was educating the public about Native traditions. She and her late mother, Martha Manuel Chacon, began visiting local schools in the 1950s, working to counter inaccurate and misleading stereotypes by sharing their personal stories and experiences. She was a true pioneer, early champion of Native traditions and culture. She instilled this passion in her own children by teaching them traditional games and stories. She helped develop interactive Serrano language, CD-ROM, and made traditional Indian cradle dolls and other kinds of crafts. Her teachings will live on in books that she authored about the life of the San Manuel culture and traditions. These books are The Living in Two Worlds, and the other one was the We Are Still Here, Alive and in Spirit. She was a generous person, supporting projects such as Loma Linda University Medical Center to expand its lounge for patients and their families. She was also a major benefactor for the construction of the observatory at Cal State San Bernardino, which is scheduled to be completed this spring and will be named in honor of her family. Our condolences and prayers go out to her family during these difficult times, and we join them in celebrating her rich and full life. She will be sorely missed, and she is survived by her husband, 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and 19 great-grandchildren. And I ask you to join with me in adjourning in her memory.
Thank you, Senator Dutton, and please convey the sympathies of the Senate. Senator Hancock, for what purpose?
Also to adjourn in memory.
Please proceed.
Mr. President. I'm adjourning in memory today on behalf of Senator Ellen Corbett, who could not be here, and myself. Adjourning in memory of Beresford Barry Bingham, who was one of the great union leaders of our community. He was 64 years old, a community strength coordinator for Service Employees International Union 1021. And what that means is that he worked with Head Start parents, with other community groups on parental involvement in their children's education and other community strengthening things. He was Alameda County Central Labor Council's Unionist of the Year a few years ago. He was an elder at his church. He was truly one of the loving and beloved union leaders, community members in Alameda County. We send our condolences to his 3 children, Kenya, Jovan, and Brian, and his family.
Thank you, Senator. If you could please be sure to bring the name forward to the desk so that this passing can be properly memorialized. And again, our sympathies to friends and family. Members, are there any other items under motions, resolutions, and notices? Senator Dutton?
Immediately after session, I've got a brief Republican caucus in the Cox Clubhouse.
For purposes of announcement, Senator Hancock.
And immediately upon adjournment, there will be a meeting of Budget Sub 5. And we can wait till the Republican caucus is over, I guess, if it's going to be short.
Are there any other items under motions, resolutions, and notices? Senator DeSaulnier.
Thank you, Mr. President. Immediately upon the end of the Republican caucus, Sub 3 will meet in 4203.
Thank you. And Senators, Budget Subcommittee number 2 will also be meeting immediately upon adjournment of the Republican caucus. Members, are there any other items under motions, resolutions, and notices? Under introductions and reading of first bills, deemed read. Under the daily file, members, there is no business on the file today. If there is no other business, Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear. Senator?
Thank you very much, Mr. President and members. The Governor's State of the State address is Monday. It will commence at or around 5 o'clock, but session is 4 o'clock on Monday here in the Senate chamber. We'll take care of some of our business, and then nice tradition to walk on over as the Senate sometime around 4:30 or so, and get seated and get ready for the Governor's State of the State address. So Monday at 4 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Steinberg. Then, members, the Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. As Senator Steinberg has indicated, we will reconvene Monday at 4 p.m. Until that time, the Senate is in recess.